Hi, I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. Now, I've been given a challenge that was left in one of the comments from one of the previous videos. It's from SJKiss67 and they say, "Hey Paul, here's a challenge for you. Could you create a vintage Plexi patch for the Boss Katana 2 and do a video comparing it with the Marshall VS20, thanks." Now, I think they mean the SV20, which is the studio vintage 20-watt Marshall Plexi that I've recently got. So what I'm going to do in this video is to sort of do that, but I'm not going to use a Katana Mark II. I'm going to go back to a Mark I, and I'm going to be using the 100-watt Mark I head for this. Just before we start, I played a little riff in the intro of this video and I asked, is this the Marshall or is this the Katana? If you want to play along, leave your answers in the comments below, and in a couple of days I'll reply to those comments and let you know what it was. So, here's the sound of the Plexi. Now, if you listen to a Plexi, it's got a really nice glassy top end. And I reckon with a couple of tweaks, I think we can get quite close using the Katana. I've got the Plexi and the Katana head both plugged into a Kahayan Amp switcher, and that's going into my divided by 13 cab that's over there. The great thing about using the Kahayan Amp switcher is that I can switch it between the two heads and it's basically going through exactly the same chain. So let's switch it over to the Katana. So obviously we're on the clean setting. Let's just change that to the crunch channel. Now, the crunch channel on the Katana is actually quite Plexi-like. It does have that sort of glassy top end. Now, we've got a lot more gain on the Plexi, so let's just turn that up. And it was also louder in volume, so let's bring the volume up. Let's go back to the Plexi. And the Katana. When I'm using the Katana, what I like to do is to use some of the overdrive pedals that are built into the Katana, as you can really get some really great tones out of it. But before we get into that, let's have a look at the EQ. Right, I think we could bring the bass up a little bit. And the Plexi has a lot more sort of higher mids, so let's bring the mid up. And also the treble. So now we've done that, let's compare that to the Marshall. So here's the Katana first. And there's the Marshall. Now, for me bringing that treble up, we're starting to get some harsh frequencies. So let's use a parametric just to shave those off a little bit. I'm just going to bring the high mid down, just a couple of dB. Tone wise, I think we're getting pretty close, but I think we need to bring in an overdrive pedal just to get the same amount of drive going into the front end. So let's switch over to the booster setting and let's bring the overdrive pedal in. Okay, I definitely need to bring back the tone. And just bring back the drive just a little bit. Now with these pedal emulations, because they're before the amp, the higher the effect level, the more you're driving the front end of the amp. So I'm just going to bring the effect level back. So there's the Katana. And there's a Marshall. There's one more thing that I'm going to change, and that's the presence. I'm just going to bring the presence up just a little bit, just to increase that sort of glassy top end. So here's the Marshall. And here's the Katana. You're never going to get the Katana to sound exactly like the Plexi, but I do think that sounds pretty close. And if I was doing a gig, I'd be more than happy using that sound from the Katana. I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. I really hope you guys got something out of this video. If you did get something out of the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Click on the bell button and you'll be notified of any future video that comes out from the Studio Rats. I'm Paul and I'll see you next time. Cheers.